Hello, welcome to Crack the Sky, and today we're looking at our top 5 is ASX Exchange Traded Funds. Our daily horizon view, and the date is the 21st of the 13th. A quick look at the overall market. So the All Ordinaries closed up just marginally, 0.03% at 62.53. Major movers were materials, energy, and communication services. Commodities, gold and silver on the downside. Petroleum, moreover, to be up anyway. See how it all plays out in the rest. So our top 5 percentage rises. See what we've got. OOO, which is our beta shares crude oil index, up 2.14% on a reasonable volume. So people looking to move into oil. GDX, which is the biggest ETF in the Australian market anyway. I think there's about 13 billion in that one. GDX is a VanEck Vector's gold miners. So that's international focused mainly. Up next we had QCB, which is the beta shares commodities basket. That one gives you exposure to crude oil through synthetic ETF. That one actually has quite a good dividend yield of 9.46%. So if you're chasing dividend, that might be one to look at because it's a synthetic ETF. There's quite a bit of risk involved in it, but you need to do your research to find out about that one further. Next, we had China New, so that one's VanEck Vector's China New ETF, which focuses on the newer economy type businesses in China. Then we had QAU, which is the beta shares gold bullion ETF. So that invests in physical gold bullion, and that's held in the National Bank of Canada. So gold and oil up, and people chasing some exposure to China. 5 percentage falls. Let's see what we've got. We've got IJH, which is the iShares S&P Mid Cap 400. Low volume and also a 2% fall, so nothing major to get worried about there. I would not have thought. Next up we had INCM, which is a new one for me. I can't remember that one before, which is that's beta shares global income leaders. That one gives you exposure to equity securities of 100 top yielding large to mid cap companies in the developed markets, and that's ex-Australia. Up after that, we had a new one, I think, as well, which is WDMF. That's the iShares Edge MSCI World Multi-Factor ETF. That just tracks the performance of the MSCI World Diversified Multi-Factor Index, and that's hedged to Australian dollar. A bit of a basket one, that one. So get a lot of bigger companies, international companies. Then we had IRJ, which is our iShares S&P Small Cap 600. So that one looks at the small end of town in the US. Then we had Moat. Moat's probably one of the more popular moat style ETF. So that one's from VanEck Vectors, and that one tracks a Morningstar wide moat index, I should say. A lot of big companies in that one, so dominated by American companies. Interesting one if you're looking for that style of investment. $5 rises. See if they broadly match our top 5% rises. Add IKO, which is the iShares MSCI South Korea ETF. That one tracks the big stocks in South Korea. Then we had GTX, which is VanEck Vectors Gold Miners ETF. ILB is the iShares Government Inflation ETF. And so that one invests in Australian federal and state income security, so it's fixed income. IHEB is the iShares JP Morgan US Dollar Emerging Markets Bond. So you're going to have exposure to some higher yielding bonds, but also higher risks, and that's a Australian hedged ETF. So then we have IGB. That's iShares Australian Securities ETF. So that one tracks the Bloomberg Australian Bond Treasury Index. So people looking for some sort of more stable yield, I suppose. They're looking to move out of riskier assets and move into bonds and fixed interest and that type of investment. So up next we have our top $5 falls. I think this is going to be definitely dominated by trading out of America, but once again the percentage falls are reasonably low, sort of 2% and below, and the volume's not high either, so nothing major to be concerned about. So IJH, SPY, IVV, and BTS IRJ are all US focused ETFs. So IJH is the iShares S&P Mid Cap 400. SPY is the State Street Spider S&P 500 ETF. That tracks the biggest 500 biggest companies, and after that we had IVV, which is the iShares S&P 500 ETF. So it's the same thing, tracks the 500 largest companies in the States. And then we had VGS, which is the Vanguard US Total Market Share Index ETF, and then followed up by IJR, which is the iShares S&P Small Cap 600. So people definitely thinking that they should be reducing their exposure to the States, the American market. Top 5 number of trades. Typically, we're going to see the usual suspects, the big end of the ETF market here, as we typically always see. So we had VGS, STW, VAS, IVV, and VTS. So VGS is the Vanguard MSCI International Share Index. That's followed up by STW, which is the State Street Spider S&P ASX 200 fund. Then we had VAS, which is the Vanguard Australia Shares Index, and that one tracks the S&P ASX 300. Then we had IVV, and that one's the iShares S&P 500 ETF. And then we had VTS, which is the Vanguard US Total Market Share Index. So definitely all those ones today were in the top 15 largest ETFs on the market. Looking at the number of trades, not a great deal of movement on the number of trades. It looks to be reasonably standard, around the 200 number of trades on the top here, so that's kind of standard. Having a good volume. So we had NDQ, which is the BetaShares Nasdaq 100 ETF. VSG, which is the Vanguard Ethical Conscious International Share Index. So if you're looking for some ethical investing options, that could be a good one if you're interested to do some additional research on that one. Then you got USD, so USD is our BetaShares US dollar ETF, very popular ETF, that one as well. Then we had Ethic, so we've got a couple of ethical focused ETFs in this top 5. ETHI is the BetaShares Global Sustainability Leaders, similar thing to VSG. Followed by IEU. IEU is the iShares Europe ETF. Not a hugely popular ETF, it's actually quite small from memory, and that tracks the S&P Europe 350 index, so that's got the 350 biggest European companies in it. So if you can, pretty much it'll pick the biggest companies out of all of the European countries. 5 for value. So VSG, IEU, IVV, VGS, and NDQ. So just a quick wrap up. We had VSG, which is the Vanguard Ethical Conscious International Share Index. IEU is the Vanguard Europe ETF, and they're 2 new ones, but they're relatively small as well. Looking at the volume, the values of the trades, so we're looking at 9.7 million, which is a massive day. When you look at the volume and the number of trades, it's all been a pretty subdued day today. Nothing stands out as big trades. IVV, VGS, NDQ, they're all quite popular ones. I sit in the top 15 for the largest ETFs in the Australian market. Moving along. So we're focused on giving you guys information so that you're armed and you can go out and make good decisions and crack your financial sky. So give us a like, subscribe. We'll keep doing these videos, hopefully get a bit better, a bit more professional. Thanks.